Hi! Hello, everyone! Cheers to Thursday! I have a new speaker. It's right here. It's this new speaker. I hope it's working. So, if I have any viewers yet already, I'd like to hear that my speaker is working. So, come on in and tell me. If it's not, then yes, please tell me. I just saw a viewer come in. Is my speaker working okay? Give me because I just got a new really cool little microphone and want to make sure that it's working. So, yep, cool. Thank you. Hi, good morning. All right, so let's talk. I just posted that I wanted to talk a little bit about wins because I will not be on for the morning huddle tomorrow. If you're just joining, hi, good morning. If you're just joining, I am the founder of the Women Who Soar collective, the group that we're in here, and I decided a few days ago I was going to hop on every morning at 9 a.m. for what's called a morning huddle. And the morning huddle stemmed from my past life developing teams for 20 years at the bank, and then at the startup I was with. And every morning with my team, we would have a morning huddle, and we would talk about strategy and goals and mindset and results from the day before. And a lot of time it was just really quality and significant teaching and coaching and mutual wisdom. So I was like, I kind of miss these morning huddles, and I love the community that we have here in the group. So this is an opportunity for us to get together and for me to do a little bit of morning coaching and connect with all of you. So this morning, since I will not be on, hi, good morning, hi Trisha. So this morning, because I will not be on tomorrow, I wanted to talk a little bit about wins. So if you're listening or if you are in the replay later on, please share your wins for this week, whatever that win may be, whether it's a win professionally or personally. So I have a lot of wins to share. A lot. So I'll kick it off with wins like I have a client that won a client this week and was really excited about that win. I have another client that increased her prices, and that was tough. It was tough to increase her price because she also had to shift her mindset that she was worth offering this price. And then right after our call, when she increased her price, the client said yes. And that was a huge win, right? A win professionally and with her mindset. I had another client win a huge opportunity to partner with the city that she is in to really make some economic development changes within the community that she's in. So that was really exciting. And I was just looking at my list that I made. Oh, I have a client that out of nowhere we created her offer so she could actually right now, without doing anything, go out and start generating income and getting clients because she already has a really, really significant talent. So those are some wins. If you're hanging with me this morning, please let me know what your wins have been this week. I would love to see them in the comments. That would be great. And so I wanted to start off with wins. So in my post this morning, I mentioned I was going to share a significant story. Yes, so the significant story that I'm looking at notes, as you can see, like I keep looking down over here. So what I wanted to share is I had a group coaching session this week, and one of the women that shared was talking about how she wasn't getting sales, but everybody loves what she does. She has this brilliant concept, and people get really excited when they hear the concept, but no one's buying. So I was like, let's think about this. So the story I want to share around everyone loves what I do, but no one's buying is this. So, as most of you know, sorry, something's happening here. I don't know what that is. As most of you know, my tenure was developing top performing sales leaders in the bank. So I really wasn't that good with money. I was really good with building relationships. So I spent that time developing sales leaders. So part of that was creating essential ways for salespeople to get sales. So building out curriculum and building out programming and building out sales process. So these sales leaders could go out and make money for the bank. I mean, it's that simple. Sales leaders go make money for the bank. Okay. Sounds really simple, but it actually was pretty simple once I figured it out. And so then when I left the bank and joined this startup, this is the significant part. I joined this startup, and the startup was this fancy fintech company, and it was completely white space. And what I mean by that is nobody knew us. And not only did nobody know us, but nobody knew what the product was, and we had absolutely no one knew who we were. So we were a fintech with a brand new audience, with a brand new product, and a brand new market. So you think about what you're offering right now and what you're selling right now. In business, are you brand new? Do you have a brand new audience? Do you have a brand new product? And if you don't, you've already met. You've beat half the battle, because being brand new and not knowing what you do, like if people don't know what you do, and they don't understand what you do, it makes it really challenging to sell it if they don't know. So let me unwrap that a little bit. So in this startup, we had what's called a crowdfunding product. So we sold crowdfunding to small businesses. I know I'm trying not to bore you with that, but I want you to understand that at the time when I joined this startup, nobody knew what crowdfunding was. A lot of people know what crowdfunding is now, but nobody knew what crowdfunding was, and nobody knew like what it did. And so we were brand new. So we had a brand new product that nobody knew and understood, and we had an audience that had no idea who we were. The part that aligns with the group coaching this week is that once people heard about what we did, which was help small businesses get capital, get money and funding so they could grow their businesses, it was such a warm heart, right? Oh my gosh, you're helping small businesses get money so they can start and grow their businesses. We love that. There's such a great passion there. There's such a great mission there. And that's one of the reasons why I joined the startup, because I aligned with that mission. But even with that passion of, oh my gosh, you're getting capital money into small business and minority businesses' hands, even though that was such a passion and such a mission, people weren't buying. So that's my point. People weren't buying. And so the reason why people weren't buying is because they didn't know who we were. They didn't know who we were. So I was like, what are we going to do here? Well, so after a ton of what I like to call designing and mind mapping with lots and lots of whiteboards over and over again, and we were a very small team, startup of 4 when we started with Honeycomb. And we're like, well, let's see. And so I took all that stuff that I did in banking, all those processes and strategies and all of those things, and I put them into Honeycomb to see what would happen. And so we started in 2017, and it took about a year and a half. But all that stuff that I did at the bank worked at the startup. And I was like, wow, it worked. And so what worked? What worked was what I teach you guys. So now that I know it works in the startup, worked it in corporate banking, it now really, really works with women entrepreneurs. But the first thing to know is that just because you love what you do, and just because when you tell somebody and they love what you do, that doesn't mean that your business is just going to explode. You have to have a process. You have to have a process and activities and a strategy to actually grow your business. I say often that manifesting is wonderful, but it's not a strategy and process to grow your business. It helps keep you centered, and it helps keep your momentum that it will happen, manifesting, it will happen. But moving your feet and doing the right activities are what's going to actually make it happen. So I leaped in, right? I leaped in with Honeycomb, and I started doing those 4 things that I teach you guys. And I got really good at those 4 things, and I got really, Hi, Danielle. Yeah, so Danielle, we have to hook up because I know we do a lot of the similar things, and I bet our zones of genius could really help women. So I started doing those 4 things, and I started doing them on my own because I didn't have a team. It was just me, right? And that was the part that was also like, oh my gosh, I don't have anyone to delegate this to like I did at the bank. Here I am in this startup, and I have to figure out how to do it all myself with the CEO, right? And so I did. And so I started with outreach, simple outreach with a targeted audience. And I have 2 minutes left, guys, with a targeted audience. So outreach, and tons of it. And there's a strategy that goes along with the outreach. And then I looked at who are my partners, who are the organizations that I need to connect with. And I started on a local level, right? I knew that I wanted to get to a national brand with Honeycomb, and needed to because we were a venture-backed high-growth startup, but I needed to start with local and get a really good brand in the local community. And Cleveland is where I live, so that's where we started. And Cleveland had no idea what crowdfunding was, and they didn't know what Honeycomb was, and I had to start somewhere. So I started with outreach, and then I started with partners and organizations, and really a targeted audience there, like who needed to know who I was, who I am. So economic development, needed to know. Anything small business related, needed to know. So I got really good at the partnership. And then the third was what I've been talking a lot about this week, which is building your ecosystem. And building your ecosystem is that entire audience around you. So everyone that may have some type of connection with your audience, mine were all small businesses. I was there leading the panels, talking on the podcast, going to speaking engagements, showing up at trade shows. I was always there and talking really, really confidently about what we do, so people knew exactly what we did and how we helped people. And that's how people got to know Dora as Honeycomb. Dora as Honeycomb. Dora helps small businesses get money, right? And that's what I did. And it took about a year and a half just to get Cleveland really, really secure. And then boom, I was able to take that, what I did with Cleveland, and start duplicating it in other cities and in other states. And lo and behold, 20 states later, we had our mission really growing. So that's the significant story I wanted to share. I left off the 4th one. The 4th one is marketing. So those 3 things, those first 3 activities, those are the things that really lifted us and got people to buy. That's when people started buying. And then the 4th one was growth marketing, where we that top of the funnel where we spent on social media and landing pages and funnels and whatnot. But we needed all of those things. We didn't just do marketing. Marketing was not going to generate us income and get us sales right out of the gate. And 3 years, 4.5 years in, it's a part, it's a piece, right? So I know that that's a piece, it's a strong piece, but it's not the piece that's going to generate income out of the gate. I say that all the time because you're hearing it. So yeah, all right, I'm a minute over, and this was so much fun. I'm so glad you guys are coming in and hanging out. Please keep comments. Let me know what you thought of this one. And share your wins for the week. I want to hear what you guys have been doing. I hope this was helpful, and I will see ya on Monday. Cheers. Bye.